Beginning in the early springtime, people from all over Chapel Hill find an excuse to come down Gimgoo Road. Hundreds of walkers and joggers from the nearby campus. Many of them at this house will stop at least for a short while to savor the scents and colors of the changing displays of flowers and plants in this garden, where the sign says simply, this welcoming sign and this garden belong to twin sisters Bernice Wade and Barbara Stiles. They actually look forward to the springtime onslaught of visitors.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Well, we had so many people coming all the time to see the garden, and they'd come knock on the door and ask if they could come. And so we decided it would be much nicer to have a sign out that they'd feel more welcome and anybody could come. So we put it out about 3 weeks every April.
If you want to touch the tulips, that's okay, because they're getting old.
Barbara and Bernice recently celebrated their 90th birthday. They are being visited this day by a group of future gardeners and by members of the Cary Garden Club.
Oh, okay.
You can touch them?
There seems to be just a wonderful blending of different colors. Is that an accident?
No, I think most of it's pretty well planned.
I can tell you it's not an accident, because every year she comes around and says, I know we want to move this bush here, we move that bush there, because the color's not right. And so the poor nephews that are around here have to lift these giant bushes into a new hole. Luckily, most of them have survived.
Wow.
So sometimes we wish you weren't quite so color conscious.
Well, we don't ask them to move the huge ones.
No.
No. We try not to have conflicting colors so the colors flow. We don't have a bright red right when you have this beautiful row of roses and pinks. We might have blues and whites and a soft yellow, but if we had a red, then we have to move it. We try to get a good blend of colors that will blend well with whatever's blooming in that area. So we do have a place in our garden where I can use the gaudy colors like I want, with the reds and the red and yellows and a flow of yellows and the reds, and that match with the white azaleas and all. So we like to plan our colors.
You can see as you walk around the garden that one of the icons of spring is on prominent display.
We just have to have tulips. We just love tulips in the spring, and they're a great extravagance of ours, because you have to dig them up and throw them away. When they finish blooming, they won't come back here. They'll divide, the bulbs will divide into 3 or 4 little bulbs, and none of those are going to be strong enough to support a
pretty tulip.
A pretty tulip next year.
A weak tulip, but not a pretty tulip. We ordered them from a wholesale company, and you have to buy them by the 100. It could be $24 to $34, depending on the variety. And we always say that's our extravagance. We'd rather do that than go out to dinner. And you can buy 100 tulips or go out and have a meal.
Azaleas are another spectacular component of their garden. Success with them has come from years of experimentation.
We do find that you have to have it in good soil, not in the clay, so the roots can go out and they're easy to lift, and you have to water them and frequently, let them dry out, fertilize them after they bloom. If you're going to prune them immediately after they bloom. What else have I forgotten?
Well, the most important, I think, is have to be on raised beds, because their roots do go out. And have to have nice soft soil there. To go down into that red clay is not very good for them.
Over the years, with many hundreds of visitors, Barbara and Bernice have been asked for lots of gardening tips. And they have some good advice to give.
Get good beds, get good soil, raised beds. Don't try to plant until you get the soil right. And it takes a lot of money to get a lot of compost and a lot of peat moss and everything else to get your bed just right, and then start spending your money on plants. We learned the hard way.
And go small. Start with one small bed and get it perfect, and then move on. Don't try to do the whole yard at once.
You can tell by looking at the garden that these energetic sisters are not afraid of hard work, because a lot of that went into what you see.
it's a great joy to be out in the garden. It really is. It's just fun to be out here,
and we just like being outdoors. We've always liked that. We were outdoor campers, and when we went to college, we wanted to be forest rangers. And they said, but you can't be forest rangers. That's a man's job. So I guess it's the next best thing is to be having our beautiful garden, to be outdoors.
The house that is now surrounded by their spectacular garden was an early 20th century phenomenon. You could order it from Sears Roebuck.
The house was built in 1920. It's one of those craftsman houses at the Sears catalog house.
It's a charming house.
And yesterday, quite interestingly, we had some people here from California, and the lady said, I saw in the State magazine my house. And she said, I came to find it. And she said that she lives in the same house, but in California.
Oh, that's incredible.
But it's the garden that attracts most visitors, and it's fortunate for us that Barbara and Bernice are so generous with sharing it.
Hey, look at those spiky ones. Spiky.
To have friends, you got to be a friend. And this is what we feel too with the people coming through the yard. We have made so many wonderful friends from all walks of life and all areas around here. And it makes our life richer.
When we put a lot of work in it, it's pretty. We like someone else to come through and say it's pretty.
And to enjoy it too.
And sit down and enjoy it with them. But that great big tulip is that size. But Barbara and I always say, as long as we're good gardeners, we'll never be lonely. There are just lots of people who are going to come by and enjoy the garden with us.